The musical program began 10 years ago in the fall of 2006, and our then assistant principal, Ann Miller, whose dream it always was to have a musical program here at Caldwell, applied for a grant and was declined. Ann Miller then went out and found an anonymous donor who donated our first $3,000, which covered 70% of that first musical. She grew up in the fine arts. Her family was fine arts oriented. She sought this school out as an assistant principal, and she wanted to do whatever it took to take this school to excellence in the arts. And she knew as well as I that a musical program was a great starting point for that. Unfortunately, Ann Miller passed away a week before school began, after we were already well into pre-production meeting. So that first musical became more than just a launching pad for us here at Caldwell, but it became part of the dream, part of the passion. In Jungle Book, we actually flew 7 kids on the fly system. And we had monkeys bouncing 10 feet off the ground. Boom, boom, on that fly. And the audience was like, oh. And there was a gasp. They couldn't believe it. And all these kids were harnessed, and we actually brought in a professional wildlife and parks safety engineer, and it was all legit. But we did, for that time, become known as the school that flew kids. The year before that, we actually flew a teacher who was in a spacesuit for Schoolhouse Rock on Interplanet Janet, and we flew her down. The year after Jungle Book, in Aladdin, we flew a carpet. We had a flying carpet.
This is an elementary school. We could get away with what other elementary schools do, cardboard cutouts and those kinds of things, and stage a play like that, and it'd be perfectly acceptable.
Our very first musical's budget was $4,000, which at the time we thought was a large amount of money. Today, that amount has tripled. We are now running musicals at a $12,000 budget. For the last 7 years, the Tyler ISD Foundation has funded nearly 50% of our production. We could not have done it without the community leaders and the support of the Tyler ISD Foundation.
One thing that we've committed ourselves to year in and year out is giving the kids the real tools to put on a real show, because that's what this school is about, is teaching them what real theater is, to give them what they need so that there's nothing lacking there. They're proud to stage the show and be in the show.
Fifth graders are the leaders of the musical, so we have to be respectful and show the little ones, well, kind of like the babies of the musical, how to act and show and be leaders one day.
I like how Mr. Johnson pushes us to be better always, not just like, it's not like Dad was saying, it's not like a little kid thing, it's big time. It's like middle schooler level. And he's always pushing us to not just be like regular, because I could just do a plain voice and it wouldn't be funny.
My first musical experience as a parent, Eli was in 3rd grade, right? And you didn't want to audition that year, did you?
I didn't.
Well, do you remember why not?
I was extremely nervous and I wasn't ready for it.
Well, on my first musical, I just felt scared and I felt some anxiety. On my second musical, I felt a little less scared and more confident. And on my third musical, I just felt like I could do everything in the world.
Really good, like it showed me like that I could do anything and like I could have a lot of fun.
It gave me courage to not be afraid to go in front of an audience with people that I do not know and just be hilarious and don't be afraid to do anything.
Well, my favorite moment was in the Seussical when when I was on stage with Tom, Eli, Quinn, and Angel.
On the last one, I was like so like disheartened because like that was my last musical that I've ever done or get to do, and like it was just a lot of fun. And you miss it a lot.
Just remember, it was so fun to be with friends and just get to do something amazing together.
When they move on to the middle school level, and whether it's public or private, and they move on to the high school level and even into college, it's like everywhere in the community they go, people know that they're a former Caldwell student. They have no problem getting up in front of their peers in the secondary level and demonstrating the same skills that they developed right here at Caldwell. I would say that that is the biggest takeaway for our students, is that this is not building them only to be great performers. This is building them to be great leaders, community members, and productive citizens.
Okay, I'll try. I'm still working on it. It's a work in progress. Okay, which line do you think, Dad?
One of your funny lines.
Pick one. It's like, okay, here we go. Do you know the Muffin Man? It's like kind of girly, but still like royal. Like he's trying to be royal, but it's not. It doesn't, no.